I know that I started a different series, a drawing YouTubers in D&D series. I had big plans for that, but then I really ran out of inspiration. I have no inspiration towards it, which really sucks because I had a lot of hopes for that. I had some fun ideas, some fun lore. I might finish up the drawing I've started, maybe do one more, and then maybe put it on pause. For right now, this is like a filler episode of something I kind of want to start. I decided to try and draw a role swap, basically swapping the roles of Ariel and Eric from The Little Mermaid, which actually I just watched for the first time ever 2 nights ago, or last night, something. I watched it literally for the first time. I have never seen Little Mermaid in full. The reason why was because she had too little clothing. At first, I had an idea of drawing her sort of dangling from a large ship, sort of like what Prince Eric was doing, just leaning off the side of the ship, grabbing a rope, maybe helping hoist the sails or something. But I quickly scrapped that idea because it was too hard to draw and it didn't really fit her. It wasn't an attitude swap, it was a role swap, you know? It was just, it's Ariel's attitude, but she's a human and Eric's the mermaid, and they got the same attitude. It was a cool pose while it lasted, but I pictured something a little more simple and whimsical, and I'm kind of glad I went that direction because the other one was far too complicated. I eventually settled on a design where she was leaning out of a sort of precariously tipping boat, looking out into the sea with this wide-eyed, curious expression, wearing a dress that kind of matches her eye color. I was kind of like, what dress do I do? And I decided to settle on the classic puffy sleeve look, but not the pink. I didn't like the pink. I wanted it to match her eyes, which you won't see till later and when I start coloring, but oh well. First I set up the scene, kind of blocked in the boat in there. I had a little bit of a rough time figuring out how much of him would stick out of the water, and I also really struggled with the head shape. This is literally, this is just kind of random bullcrap go sort of deal. I didn't really have much thought. I was just kind of drawing without funk. I just wanted to get the scene out, and I want to get much better at backgrounds. I am very excited to get better at backgrounds. They're so complicated and I don't really understand them, but if I practice enough, I will get better. This was my first time background with no references, like no tutorial on how to do an ocean background, how to make light and ocean waves work, and I think it turned out alright. I don't know. I had to get a reference for Eric and Ariel's faces because they have very unique faces, and if you don't get them just so, they'll just look like other characters. Ariel has a very dished, like, nose shape, very curved nose shape, and Eric has a little point on the end of his nose. I also decided to add a few more scales into Eric's design because I just think mermaids should be more scaly. It shouldn't be like this medieval monstrosity where it's very clearly two things divided perfectly in half. You know, some aspects should bleed out onto the other bit, you know? They should have some fins on their upper bodies, they should have a couple scales up there, or maybe they should have a few more like skin looking details down on the tail. Like, they shouldn't just be perfectly divided in half. It's not really how bodies could work. I feel like it looks better. Also, this is very much a ramble. I did not script this. I'm just literally looking at the recording and just saying stuff. So maybe I could go over what I imagine this romance would be like. I kind of imagined Ariel, like, we don't see a lot of Eric's parents in The Little Mermaid, like, surprisingly. I was very surprised when I was watching it. I'm like, he's called a prince, but I never see a king or a queen. I have to talk very quiet because my family is sleeping, so rip. But as I was saying, we see very little of Eric's parents in the movie, which is very surprising to me. So I'm thinking maybe he was like sent there on a vacation, or like maybe he was sickly and they were like, you know, oh, the briny sea air will do him good and things like that. So they sent him away there, and because it doesn't really look like a fully furnished kingdom, it's not set in a very strategic place at all. I'm thinking maybe we could use the same sort of idea for Ariel. Maybe she was a sickly princess, very pale, very frail, very fragile, and her parents are like, oh no, our poor baby, what do we do? And the court doctor or whatever is like, send her away to the seaside where the air and the sun will do her good, etc, etc. And I imagine, maybe she was very good at singing still, like her attitude's still there, she's very adventurous, very very good at singing, but her frailness just didn't allow her to get out much, and then she did. Maybe she's a beautiful singer, and maybe she would like to sing. You know, she'd be taken out on boats by the servants so that she could get some sun and get some good sea air. And then she would sing, you know, she would just sing alone in the stillness, maybe to the servant there with her. And then she would draw the mermen to the surface where they would witness the singing, and they were like, "Ooh, pretty human woman. I like ye." And Prince Eric, it's probably just Prince Eric himself, but I mean, he could still be a prince, right? Ariel's technically a princess. She's daughter of the King Triton, so Eric would still be a prince. Maybe, I know Ariel was like the favorite, so maybe we could switch that up with Eric too. Maybe he was the favorite, but not necessarily for his singing. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy to have, like, be good at swordplay or whatever, but maybe he was. Maybe he was just one of the great merman warriors or something, or maybe he was really good at magic or something, because there's a lot more magic in the Merman Kingdom. A young sorcerer, maybe, very promising. The king is very excited to hand down his trident to his son, or her son. What if it's a queen? Queen of the mermen, queen of the merfolk. It'd be kind of cool if he was like a young sorcerer, and then like, oh, I just got this idea. He's a young sorcerer, and he's drawn to the surface by the singing, the forbidden surface. And he's like, oh my gosh, you know, who is this woman? What is she doing? She's singing. I love her, because, you know, love at first sight. And then maybe he tries something on himself and it goes horribly, horribly wrong. You know, he tries to do a spell, he tries to have feet or something, and it goes wrong, something happens, and he's either forced to go to the sea wizard, not Ursula, or something, or maybe, I don't know, maybe the spell goes right, but then he keeps getting addicted. I don't know. What if the spell went horribly wrong and caused him to, like, lose— ooh, no, I like this better. He does a spell on himself and it goes horribly wrong and he loses his sight. He doesn't lose his voice or his, you know, anything else, but he gets his legs and he goes up on shore, but he's lost his sight, and now he doesn't know who, you know, what the heck, you know, I can't see her. Oh no, I have to find her by her voice, her singing voice. I will know her by her voice. Maybe he's also hurt or something and he's taken in either by the castle. I was surprised that they just took her into this very empty castle in the Mermaid movie. In the Little Mermaid movie, they just kind of took her into the castle and were like, oh, here, strange girl, here you go. I wonder, maybe instead this young blind Eric is taken into the village. They're taking care of him, and he's constantly begging people like, please sing for me, sing for me. I'm looking for a girl, please sing for me, will you sing for me? And maybe they're like, okay, we'll oblige you. They're looking for someone, and so they'll sing for him, but nobody's there, and, you know, he doesn't know Ariel's a princess. All he knows is she goes out on a boat sometimes. So he's like, I've seen a girl, she's got red hair, she sings and it's beautiful and I love her. And maybe they bring all the redhead girls in the village, but none of them sing as beautifully as he remembers Ariel singing to be. And then maybe eventually he's sitting by the wharf or something as a blind boy, you know, they're like, oh, take him out to see the sun. He needs the sun, he needs that health. Maybe he's helping weave a basket or something, or a net, and he hears her singing on the balcony. And he's like, there's the girl who sings. I know her voice. And of course, you know, his father or his mother, queen, king of merfolk, notices he's gone missing. They're furious at him. How dare you, going up to the humans and canoodling around. But he can't, as he falls in love with Ariel more, maybe she sees he's kind of cute, you know, and she's like, you look like that merman boy, but you can't be him. I love him too, but you can't be him, you know, he was part fish. He's like, no, it's me, I swear. But she's like, how could you, you know, you're just, I don't know you. I wanted to add, this is kind of a tangent here, but I also added webbed hands and more fins along his body. Almost forgot the fins though, because I wanted him to be very fishy indeed. But back to the story, maybe his wrong spell went, or Eric's wrong spell went more wrong than he first imagined, and it's kind of like, it's causing storms, it's causing disruption, it's blocking out the sun, and Ariel's, you know, falling sick again, and eventually Eric is forced to reverse his own spell, or maybe his spell runs out or something, and he has to, you know, he has to fix it. He has to go home and go to his father or his mother and say, please, I've messed up, but I really want to be with this human girl. Please, the storms, please, you know, calm the storms. It's making her ill. Like, no, we want you here, you know, the promising son of the merfolk. How could you love a human girl? But of course, in the end, it all works out, and he gets his sight and his legs, and he goes to his princess. And then, of course, Ariel, sickly, tiny Ariel, comes home like, Mom and Dad, I found a fish boyfriend, and he's hot. I really struggled with the, with that background, gosh, the ocean and stuff. The ocean's so beautiful, I can't quite capture it, but I tried my best. It looks okay from like 20 feet away, but if you get too close, it's not so nice. I'm also really copying the techniques of the shorts I've seen from this one guy on Instagram. I'll try to like find his name and put it in the description or something, but he's really good. It's like, oh, it's Philip Sue art. He's got some very unique, beautiful fantasy styles for backgrounds, and I'm kind of following his style a little bit. I mean, I couldn't really look up like a tutorial or anything because he hasn't quite done this, but I followed like what he does for the clouds and how he erases and paints them and shades them, and what he does with the lighting and the colors and the gradients and stuff. I'm also trying a new coloring technique where I just kind of select everything and then fill it in with the bucket tool or the color drop, because it's easier, it's faster, and honestly it's really upped my productivity like a lot, a surprising amount. I'm kind of shocked. It's so fast, and the little mistakes are quick cleanups and stuff. It's made it a lot faster and helped. I don't know if I should make this a series, but I have been getting ideas for drawing Disney princess things from movies I haven't seen. I don't know, like drawing more Disney princesses in new situations or something, or something like that. But what I really want to start is a sequence where I draw my own things. Do I dare say what I want to do? Because I haven't seen it done on YouTube before. I haven't really seen someone do what I'm thinking about doing ever. I have never seen someone do it. Maybe I should look it up and figure it out, see what happens. This is also my first time recording at night, and so having to be very quiet, but this is my first time I'm going to be trying to use PNGs, my PNGs that I drew, and I'm going to be trying to match their facial expressions with how my tone sounds, so wish me luck with that, and let me know if you like it. I spent a lot of hours making these PNGs, and I even made one for each of my siblings. I'm hoping to maybe use them in future videos. I'm not sure. Not sure at all. I mean, unless I do one more princess drawing or something, I might just say frick it and finish up that D&D drawing of Mr. Beast, and then, like I said, put a pause on that series idea. It was exciting when I had the idea, but I'm like, gosh, there is an untapped genre that I could potentially get in on, and I really think it would be cool. I really think you guys would enjoy it. It's kind of like my own stories, almost. It's not quite my own stories, but my own stories, and I draw a scene from each one and I talk about the story. Maybe I could do the books I'm writing, or I draw a scene from the book and then I talk about the rest of the story, only when I'm not afraid that someone will steal the idea, although no idea is new, so shouldn't be too afraid about it being stolen or something. Might like it better than the D&D series. D&D series is like, it got some views, but I don't think it's as interesting as it could be. I feel like there's better potential elsewhere. And that's what you gotta do, right? You gotta look at something, say, you know what, you weren't very successful. I'm gonna put you down for right now and try something else. And then if that too doesn't work out, maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll try something else. I'm gonna work on trying. I know it takes like 10 times longer, but it's so fun to do backgrounds and kind of figure it out and get better at it. I'm no Sam Does Arts, and I'm no super great background artist, but it's fun. Maybe I could make the drawings a little more aesthetic, a little more pleasing, because Sam can do some really good backgrounds, brings the painting together. The one he did recently with this like battle girl was really cool. She was yelling, there was a knight in the background, the armor was shiny, and there were motion white lines and everything. Beautiful. And like the girl wasn't sitting there just kind of dead-faced and staring and looking good. She was like yelling in this full-on battle rage, and I'm like, yeah, emotion from Sam Does Arts art? What do you know? Crazy. I wish he'd show more emotion in his art. I'm trying to show more emotion in my own art, you know, get those expressions down. But it's hard. It's so hard. Especially when my art has very chunky lines. The lines get in the way. I'm wondering, should I learn how to draw and paint without lines or not? Because this looked pretty okay when I removed the lines. I've just never been confident with it. Oh yeah, and if you didn't notice, I gave Eric a little earring, 2 little earrings for some reason. I was just like, you know, for some reason he seems like the kind of merman to get piercings. I don't know. It just looked, it looked right. Oh, and I gave him, of course, pointy ears because I am a firm believer in if the species ain't human, change the ears. Make them different. I also did a drawing with where the work in progress got more likes than the actual drawing. It was, maybe I'll show it on the screen or something, it was of Ariel. Like, I did a drawing of the true Ariel, and I added some more fins, made her look a little better. Or not better, but like I gave her gills, and she looked really pretty. I liked her. I kind of want to do a siren Ariel now for some reason. I don't know. Here I am 1 minute going, I gotta stop, I don't want to draw Disney princesses forever, but then I'm like, you know what, I really want to draw them as sirens, okay? Draw them as monsters. I think she turned out really cute, you know. I had to get the nose shape right, but I think she turned out pretty okay. Eric too. He looks a lot younger in this photo than he did in the movie. In the movie he looked like really kind of old. I think it's because they kept drawing his smile lines. I'm not sure. He looks a little bit more like a teenage boy here. Maybe like upper teens. She definitely looks like a teen. Really wanted to add hair on his chin. Like, I had to resist adding hair on his chin. I like me a guy with some hair on his chin, you know? Sometimes it looks good. Oh, and I gave him some claws. I gave him claws because I feel like if you're gonna live in the sea with a bunch of dangerous like sharks and stuff, you're gonna need claws, dude. You're gonna need claws. Ah, here we go, the shading. The shading really helped bring it out. It's very difficult to figure out like where does the shading go? I've been trying this new technique where you fill in the entire layer with the shading color and then you just erase what the light touches, and it's really been working out for me. I really like it. It really helps because if I just fill it in manually, like, oh, I think some shading should go here, it doesn't really turn out as nice. I forget spaces, it isn't clear where the light's coming from, etc, etc. Oh yeah, and I did a little bit of off-camera cleanup because my iPad was being overloaded by the fact that I was screen recording instead of just letting Procreate record. Like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the last details because the iPad is getting so hot and I don't want it to die. Off-camera touch-ups, and I think that's really what brought it to life. Let me know what you guys think. Roleswap, I feel like it would be a viable story if it's not already. I'd be surprised if a fanfic wasn't written about this, honestly. Kind of this Roleswap world where Eric is the merchild in want of a better adventure. Or maybe it's Ariel who's the one not wanting to be a human anymore, and she wants to be a mermaid, you know? Maybe she's the one who ends up as a mermaid and she never comes home with her handsome prince dude. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Eric going to her because that's what Ariel did and it is a role swap. And it seems like the mermaids and merfolk, they have more magic than the humans, so Ariel would really have no way of getting to Eric without Eric coming to her, because I didn't see a lot of magic in their world, but the mer people, they have a lot more magic. Tell me what you like in the comments. This was a ramble, and it was a very quiet ramble at that. I'm sorry about that, but people are sleeping, and I should be getting to bed myself. If this audio turns out terribly, I am not gonna change it. I'm just gonna say, deal with it. I can't record this again. Drop kick the like button, perhaps, and perhaps do a gentle tap on the subscribe button. If you're into this sort of stuff, and if you want to see more fantasy art and storytelling and things, let me know. Let me know. I think it would be fun. I'd like to have lots of people along for the ride. I think you'd enjoy it here. I'll see you next time. Maybe when I decide to start that new series. Ha ha ha. Wish me luck.